It's annoying. It's the father that does it.
Send that.
I'll print them out and drop them off.
Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment, regular meeting of March 18th, 2025 is now in session. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice published in the Home News and Tribune on December 13th, 2024, has been posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex on December 18th, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Carley? Here. Mr. Bignell? Here. Ms. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Ayotte?
Here.
Mr. Chabra?
Here.
Mr. Cerrito?
Here.
Mr. Schneider?
Here.
Mr. DeVay?
Here.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Here.
And Chairman Kumba?
Here.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, minutes for consideration.
We have minutes of February 25th, 2025 for approval.
What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, seconded by Mr. Cerrito. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution Z25, 2025, Brian Kilijansky for an approval.
What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve Resolution Z25-2025.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, seconded by Mr. Cerrito. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. There is one announcement. Case Z5, 2025, Abhishek Bardwaj at 8 Fielding Place has been carried to April 22nd, 2025, with no renotice required. If you are here for this case Z5, 2025, it will not be heard this evening. It will be heard on April 26th, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. If you received a notice, you will not receive another notice. This will serve as your notice. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a regular meeting of the Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment. The board is composed of Edison Township residents appointed by the municipal council who volunteer their time in service to the board. The municipal land use law requires that members successfully complete a land use training course administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. The board also holds in-house training conducted by our board professionals. The zoning board abides by the provisions of municipal land use law in addition to our board's bylaws. The zoning board is a quasi-judicial land use board, which differs from the township planning board. Under the municipal land use law, board members are required to be impartial and are not allowed to discuss any case prior to being considered at a hearing. All applicants will have the opportunity to present their case before the board, along with the opportunity for board members and board professionals to question the applicant and their witnesses. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation of their case, the case will be open to the public. Residents within 200 feet of subject property will be heard first, followed by residents from outside of 200 feet. All residents will be sworn in. They'll provide their name and address, and they'll be given 6 minutes to comment on the application being considered without the opportunity for rebuttal. Residents may ask questions of the applicant's professionals, and board professionals. The board requests that these questions are asked prior to any commentary being made on the application. Once commentary begins, the resident's timer will begin. The applicant will be allowed the opportunity for cross-examination of their witnesses. Under the law, the chair is allowed to stop any commentary which is repetitive or an attempt to filibuster the board. Further, the chair is allowed to stop any commentary that is irrelevant to the case or prohibited from the board's consideration. Once the public portion is closed, all public comments are ended unless new testimony is presented by the applicant. Following the closure of the public portion, the applicant will have the right of summation on their application. Following summation, the case will go to the board for decision. This procedure has been followed by the board and is similar to the procedures followed by boards of adjustment statewide. The municipal land use law requires the board to engage in a balancing act and is not required to strictly apply township ordinances, zoning plan, or master plan. As a board of adjustment, variances are granted when appropriately necessary, following all legal considerations. As has been the case with prior boards, this board will see where we are at if we are still in session around 10:30 p.m. I ask that all applicants, professionals, and residents show respect to each other and be civil throughout all proceedings. I ask that you withhold applause, booing, or interrupting of anyone while they are speaking. The chair will not tolerate outbursts by applicants, professionals, or the public. Further, since most cases are being recorded by a court reporter, I ask that speakers do not speak over one another. The first matter on the agenda is closed session. Madam Secretary, could you just please read the closed session into the record?
Closed session is executive session on application Care 1.
Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed public session.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, second by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Board will adjourn to closed session. We don't expect to be long, and then we'll be back to get to our agenda. Thank you. Can I get a motion to return to public session?
Motion return to public session.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, second by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Board will return to public session. Madam Secretary, first case on the agenda.
Case number Z32, 2024, Sachin Patel at 167 Morris Ave. Applicant is seeking bulk and use variances to construct a two-story single-family dwelling with attached garage on a vacant property. The following standards have not been met. Minimum lot depth required is 100 feet, proposed is 89.75 feet. Affected property is located in the RB zone, designated as block number 813, lot number 16 on the Edison Township tax map. All noticing paperwork is in order.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Zero took my thunder. That was what would be my opening. Otherwise, I'm Larry Lavender of the law firm Wiley Lavender McNor. I represent the applicant, Sachin Patel. If the board members or the professionals would like to hear from my client, that's fine. We'll bring them up. But otherwise, we just have the one professional that will testify. And I'd like to put her on first, if it's okay. And again, if anybody has any questions on my clients, please ask, and I will bring him up.
Okay, absolutely.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Donna M. Bullock, Bullock.
Ms. Bullock, if you could please provide the board with a summary of your background and qualifications.
Certainly. A New Jersey licensed professional engineer. I'm a project manager at Morgan Engineering. I have been working in engineering now for 25 years. I provided public testimonies in many boards across the state, mostly in Monmouth, Oceans, and Middlesex counties. I have been before this board for a couple other applications over the past 2 years, and my license is valid.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll accept you.
Thank you. So as stated, the property is known as 167 Morris Avenue, Block 813, Lot 16, Township of Edison, Middlesex County, New Jersey. It's located in the RB residential zone. The property contains 10,465 square feet. The property is approximately 160 feet wide by 90 feet deep. I passed out two color renderings, so if we can look at those as we give my testimony.
Michelle? Excuse me, I'm second. Michelle?
This is a bulk and use. We have a court reporter.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, actually, it's just bulk. There's no use.
I have bulk and use.
It does say that, but on the sign-in sheet or the agenda, I'm sorry, but there's only two bulk variances. It's the lot depth, and there's a section 37.4 with regard to pipeline.
Okay, all right, sorry, thank you.
No, it's understandable.
Okay, you may proceed.
So I handed out two exhibits. Have they been passed out?
Will be. A1 is being passed out, which is an aerial rendering.
Yes, it's a 8.5 by 11 aerial of the subject property. It's off of Google Maps. So we can see that the property is located on the southern side of Morris Avenue. It's at the easterly intersection of Morris Avenue and Wayland Street. The existing property is vacant. It has grass and a wooded area. Adjacent to the properties to the north and west are residential properties, and the rear of the property is adjacent to the New Jersey Turnpike. There is a 23-foot wide paved existing street that runs along Morris Avenue in front of the property. It does dead end at the most northeasterly property corner. The site is a vacant lot. So onto the west side of the property, it's a grassed area, but it's also a paper street. It's the extension of Wayland Street's right-of-way. And we are surrounded by single residential uses. So what the applicant is proposing is to construct a 2,300 square foot, 2-story, 5-bedroom, single-family residential dwelling. The property is within the setbacks of the RB zone criteria. There's a proposed 2-car garage with a concrete driveway in front. There's a concrete patio in the rear. There's proposed porch in the front. We're proposing several shade trees along the frontage. We are also providing curb and sidewalk along the frontage. There is gas, sewer, and water service available within the right-of-way of Morris Avenue for connections for the utilities for this proposed development. There is also a gas line that is located along the right-of-way of Morris Avenue along the front of the property, and it turns in the southerly direction to adjacent Lot 9. I'm going to point that out. So I'm also referring to the plot plan that was submitted for this application. I've made a blow up, so it's oversized so that we can see that I've highlighted that the existing gas service runs along the southern side of Morris Avenue within the right-of-way in front of our property. It breaks down to the south and it continues in the southerly direction into the New Jersey Turnpike right-of-way. There's only a small sliver of the gas line that crosses into our property. And also on this diagram, I show a green line which illustrates the 70-foot wide gas buffer requirement. So as you can see that the gas buffer is actually on the south side of the property, and our whole development is encompassed in that 75-foot buffer area. So what we're asking for is to have relief for the 75-foot buffer setback for the gas line. Also, there's a variance required for lot depth. 100 feet is required, and due to the strange angle of the rear property line, the current depth is only at 89.75 feet. So that's pretty much what we're proposing. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Before I go to the board, I'm going to kick it off with questions. Given your proximity to the gas line, do you have a letter from the gas company allowing this?
What we did get, we'll have to ask, do we have that?
I don't have that, no.
What we did get was a aerial photo from the adjacent gas company showing us to provide for an accurate location on our plan, the locations of the utilities within the right-of-way that I stated. And that was provided for infrared map.
And who is it provided by?
It was provided by Elizabeth Gas Company.
Okay, this was not included in the board's packet?
No, the locations of the utilities are shown on this plot plan that we submitted.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McDowell?
Yeah, is this a transmission line that we're talking about? 75 pounds or greater per square inch? It's not a gas, if it's a gas hookup line, it's not part of the
No,
ordinance.
it's not.
It's a transmission line? This is a gas main that services a lot of people, not just a connection.
Yes.
Okay. And how many feet away from the digging will you be for that?
We will be where the closest of the building is off of Morris Avenue. We will be 26 feet away.
Okay.
And on the other side, to where it goes perpendicular with the east property line, we'll be 44 feet away.
And how much digging will you be doing? Are you just putting in a...
Well, the gas line that does run along the frontage of the property, it will be in the area we'll be doing curb and sidewalk,
Yeah.
but no foundation.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in the past, just to make this easier, it's not something we usually grant the variance to. What we say is you have to dig it by hand, which is almost impossible when you're trying to put curbs in. But we ask that the representatives of those gas lines be there while they're doing the digging, so that there isn't any problems. Because we've had things blow up over there. I mean, recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, one of those houses blew up with a gas along 27. So,
Thank you, Mr. McDowell.
all right. So I would I would be very, very careful with the approach.
Does the board have any other questions for Mrs. Bullock?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Davey?
So as I understand, the whole structure is sitting in the gas buffer zone.
That is correct.
And then your sidewalk and the curb is really sitting on top of the gas line.
Yes, yes, it is. Pictorially, it does show that the gas line does run under a portion of our proposed sidewalk. So
And
the
the-
gas line's more linear and our sidewalk's on an angle. So they
The
will,
Elizabeth Gas is okay with that? Putting structure on top of the gas line.
well, we'll have to get that confirmed.
Right, so do we need, yeah, that would be part of the condition for the application. We would need a clearance from Elizabeth Gas.
Yeah, no problem at all. My client was
And do we know how deep is that gas line there?
No, we do not.
Like, can you find that as well? Because you're disturbing dirt on top of the existing gas line.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure that there's a representative from the gas company there.
We would need that later before we vote on this application.
I agree, Mr. Davey.
Okay.
All right, I don't have any further question.
Mr. Chopper?
Yes, so what is currently there at the property?
If you look at the second handout that I presented as Exhibit B, A2, it's a street view from Google Maps that shows the property.
Okay.
It shows that it's a vacant piece of land, it's grassed, and on the easterly sides are wooded areas. And as you can see from this photo, the slope is a general 2% slope from the edge of the pavement down toward the direction of the park, the turnpike.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice
This-
Chairman? Hang on,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
This lot was always vacant, no structure was there before?
I understand. I'm sorry, sir. I was just making the notes. Yes.
Mr. Lavender, you just bring the microphone closer to you. Mr. Lavender, if you
Yeah.
bring the microphone closer to you. There you go, thank you.
I apologize, everyone. I was trying to take notes. I didn't.
No,
mean
that's
to
all, that's all
ignore
good. We're gonna have you juggle next, too, so.
Chainsaws, I hope. To the best of my knowledge, this lot has been vacant. We don't have any information that suggests there's been a building there before.
And the existing utilities that you have, you need to extend that on Morris Avenue as well, correct?
Well, the water service does go in front of the whole property. There's actually a fire hydrant at the most northeasterly corner of the property. So as it,
On this, I do not see fire hydrant on this one.
it's clipped off on that one. It's on the extreme side. To the east, there is an existing fire hydrant at the end of this right-of-way where the road ends and
Okay.
where the guide rail is there to keep, the road from extending further.
And what about electric, gas, and sewer line?
There is sewer. We have manhole structures right in front of the property. So right in front of the property, directly in front is a sanitary manhole. And then there's another manhole, which is the connection for the service, which is at the intersections of Welling Street and Morris Avenue.
Okay, so you would need the clearance for extending all the utilities as well, parallel to gas line. You're digging on the street, that's where the existing gas line as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Davey. Anyone else from the board? Okay. Ms. Lavender?
That's, I'll rest. That concludes.
Okay, well, I believe the board had asked for some guidance from the gas company before we,
I thought I stipulated that will be no problem for my client. We don't have that now, but for
but I think
approval-
that's, okay, so then you
Yeah.
want to carry for another,
Yeah,
okay.
that makes sense.
How long would you estimate, I mean, you're dealing with the utility, how long would you estimate you need?
What do you think?
It took months to get that.
Yeah, it's a good point. Definitely more than 30 days. Hank, do you have any idea? 60 plus? We'll have to come back.
2 months.
And it's
2
just a,
months out.
Madam
May-
Secretary?
How about May 13th or May 20th?
yeah.
Which one?
Let's do the farthest up, what, May 20th?
May 20th?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a letter from the gas company saying that we can build over top of that with regard to whatever they're going to build, but it sounds like sidewalk. And then we'll certainly stipulate to, and I'll try to get that information, that there'll be a representative of the gas company for whenever it's being dug.
Correct. And then also that means it's being built, within the proximity of the gas line.
Yep.
That is, okay. All right. You have anything to add before we?
No, I thank you all.
Okay.
It's my
All right.
first gas line, and I didn't realize there was all these problems with it, but I appreciate the board's patience, and we'll get that information for everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so for anyone here present, for anyone listening at home, this case will be carried till Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Meeting will begin at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. If you received a notice for this case, this will serve as your notice. You will not receive another notice. This case has been carried to Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, 7 p.m. here in council chambers. And thank you very much.
Thank you, board. Thank you all.
Excuse me, can I pose the board, please? I have a question regarding that last case. I have to make you aware of something, because the plan is incorrect. I'd like to be heard.
We're not out to the public yet, so this is not something that the board can hear. There is no comment right now.
When will there be a comment?
That will be when we go out to the public at the next meeting when this matter is scheduled.
All right, Madam Secretary, next case on the agenda, please.
Case number Z31, 2024, Big Fish 1918 LLC at 1918 Lincoln Highway. Applicant is seeking bulk and use variance to convert the second floor of an existing commercial office building to two one-bedroom apartments. Standards have not been met in accordance with the master plan. This is not a permitted use in the GB zone. Minimum side yard required is 15 feet, proposed is 10 feet. Affected property is located in the GB zone, designated as block number 1143, lot number 26 on the Edison Township tax map. All noticing paperwork is in order.
Good evening, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, board professionals, Lawrence Sachs, on behalf of the applicant Big Fish 1918 LLC. This property is located at block 1143, lot 26. The property address is 1918 Lincoln Highway, Route 27. The property is located in your GB zone. What we are proposing is to convert, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. This is the old Mara and Richmond Law Office building, almost right across the street here from the municipal building. In any event, what we're looking to do is convert the second floor, where that law office used to be, into two one-bedroom apartments. There really will be no other site changes except the planting of some additional landscaping. Because it's in the GB zone, we need a use variance to permit this residential use. We also have one pre-existing nonconformity bulk variance, and that would be for minimum side yard setback, 15 feet required. We have 10 feet existing and proposed. So I do have, Mr. Chairman, I do have two witnesses. I have Ms. Lorelei Totten, a professional engineer, who will just briefly describe what's being proposed from a site standpoint and what's there presently. And I also have my professional planner, Ms. Colleen McGurk, who will go into the rationale for the granting of a use variance. I've also will acknowledge I've received the two staff reports, one from Mr. Carley dated January 16th, 2025, and the other one from Mr. Bignell, the planning report dated March 13th. So, Mr. Chairman, without further ado, if we can have Ms. Totten sworn in, and I'll get her qualified.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you would just pull the microphone closer and just state your full name for the record, please.
Lorelei Totten, Lorali, T as in Tom, Otten, Crest Engineering Associates, Millstone Township, New Jersey.
Ma'am, if you could just please provide the board with a summary of your background and qualifications.
Absolutely. I graduated from Lehigh University in 1977, an eon ago. I obtained my professional engineering license in 1983. It is still in good standing. And I have worked at 6 different firms over the course of the year, of which my firm Crest, 31 years. I have testified before numerous planning and zoning boards throughout the middle part of New Jersey with excursions up into northern and southern New Jersey.
Okay, we'll accept you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I did not prepare these plans. I have reviewed the plans. I have visited the site, and I feel confident I can describe to you the existing conditions. The site is 12,500 square feet. It is located on the eastern side of Route 27, about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from here. There's one point of access directly from Route 27 to a parking lot containing 12 parking spaces. There is another point of access with cross-access easements to the adjacent building to the south of this building. There's one handicap parking space on site. There is no proposed improvements with the exception of installing some trees, and there is one light that needs to be repaired on site. There are existing utilities already to the site. The 2 apartments would connect to these utilities within the existing building. And as already stated, the property itself and the existing building meets all the requirements of your zone, GB, except for the side yard setback, which is an existing side yard, existing condition. And there's no proposal to change any of those. There's no proposed digging on site. So with regard to the comments about the pipeline, there's going to be no digging, so there's no issue there. And I did have the opportunity to review the comments from both the engineer and the planner, and I feel very confident that Fletcher Engineering will be able to address all of those by working with the engineer and the planner.
Okay, so we'll go through the reports then. We'll start with Mr. Carley.
All right. I usually make a mistake talking into the microphone. As Ms. Taunton and Mr. Sachs related, our office issued a letter on January 16, 2025. The application as described by Ms. Taunton's description of the site layout is accurate. And generally, I'll just leave it to Mr. Sachs and Ms. Taunton. Is there anything in our report? There are some revisions that we look for to the site plan, but generally, we defer to DOT for your frontage on Route 27, and of course, the fire marshal for fire safety on the site. And then there's administrative issues that you'll have to deal with. Mr. Picarillo, the township engineer on. Is there anything in the report that gives you pause, Mr. Sachs, Ms. Taunton?
No, Mr. Carley, there's really nothing, and I'll just give some clarification just for some of the comments that are in here. In paragraph 3.2, Mr. Carley is requesting that we designate 4 spots for the apartment residents, and we will do that, and we will post appropriate signage. With respect to apartment access to the building, I did hand out, which I guess we can pass around as A1, which is an interior layout of the proposed apartments on the 2nd floor. And there is an interior access which leads to the outside to each apartment, which is separate, and you'll see that on the plan. And just for the record, each apartment will have 1 bedroom, 1 living room, 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom. They're modestly sized apartments. One is 817 square feet and one is 783 square feet. Let me just jump a little further down on Mr. Carley's report. Outdoor lighting can be activated by motion sensors. We'll do that. Ms. Taunton, going to paragraph 5, the stormwater, I think you alluded to it. The design engineer can certify that there will not be any impact on the stormwater management features?
Absolutely, there's no change in impervious cover or any characteristics related to stormwater management.
Okay. And with respect to paragraph 5.4, because of that, because there is no impact, there won't be any impact on neighboring properties. Would that be correct?
That is correct. There will be no impact on the neighboring properties.
All right. On Mr. Carley's report, paragraph 6.4, he wanted to know if we're proposing any emergency generators. We are not. And I think, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Carley, I don't believe there's anything else we can't comply with respect to engineering. So,
Mr. Carley.
That about says it all, Mr. Chair.
That's good. Makes you happy, makes me happy.
Happy is a relative term.
Mr. Bignell.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, our comments are summed up in number 11 in our report. Outside agencies, if required, or exemption letters. The architectural plan I received via the email, so I'm satisfied with the drawing that I have. It just should be at some point certified that that's going to be the floor plan. Will there be residential parking signage for the apartments?
yes, we'll do that.
Okay. Pipeline buffering. I don't think you're doing any digging out there, are you?
No.
So you're not going to be putting nothing in the ground for like cable or TV or, electrical. That's all done already.
That's all done.
So then you don't really need the, you should ask the board to give you a waiver to the pipeline buffering.
Okay.
Let's see. Refuge recycling, is that going to be separated for the residential properties or?
We have a dumpster on site, so certainly
You're going to share it?
they'll share it. Exactly. And just for the record, again, I know there was a comment about the use of the first floor. It's a logistics company that has 2 employees, and they have normal business hours, 9 to 5, and their deliveries would be just your general UPS, FedEx truck, Amazon truck, if they get anything. I just want to put that on the record, though.
And you spoke about the lighting, that's fine, and I'm sure your planner will put the proofs on the record,
Yes.
so I'm satisfied. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bignell. Does the board have any questions for the engineer?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Dave.
So what is the current use of the existing building?
Yeah, so right now, the second floor is vacant. That's where the law office was. Mr. Mara and Mr. Richmond have both retired, working remotely if they're working at all. So that's going to be vacant, and that's how this second floor becomes available. The first floor is devoted to one tenant who is a logistics company. And as I stated, they have 2 employees.
Yeah.
2 employees, and
Did he?
that's it.
And then all these stairwells, the stairs you have, is it current stairs that how you had 2 current washroom on the first floor?
Yeah, there's a bathroom on the first floor. Yes, yeah. We didn't show on the architectural, but there's obviously offices and a bathroom there. So
And then you are adding just same space, no.
yeah, we're not even
Second floor
adding.
is existing second floor.
It's an existing second floor. It's just going to
You're
be
just putting
reconfigured.
partition and then putting 2 bathrooms in there.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dave. Any other questions from the board? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one other witness who is my professional planner, Ms. Colleen McGurk.
Right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And state your full name, please.
Colleen McGurk.
Ms. McGurk, if you could please provide the board with a summary of your background and qualifications.
Yes, I attended Boston University where I received a master's in urban planning in 1996. I am a member of AICP and my license is current. I started my firm, Swickstall and McGurk, in 2019, and I testified before multiple boards, including East Brunswick, Old Bridge, Sayreville, South Brunswick, and also Edison.
Save the best for last. Your licenses are current and good standing?
Correct.
We'll accept it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. McGurk, I know that you have a PowerPoint presentation, which I think we have handed to your secretary as Exhibit A2. So if you could give the board the benefit of your analysis, particularly as to the use variance and the bulk variance that's being sought here.
Sure, thank you. And good evening, board members. So I have reviewed the application, the ordinance, the 2024 Comprehensive Master Plan, the staff reports, the survey, architectural plans, and visited the site. The property in question, Block 1143, Lot 26, located at 1918 Lincoln Highway, also known as Route 27, consists of 12,500 square feet and contains a 3,170 square foot, two-story office building. So tonight we are asking the board to approve the conversion of the second floor office space to 2 one-bedroom residential units. The first floor would remain as office space. Currently, the second floor is vacant and has been for at least 18 months. The property also contains 3 street trees and additional landscaping, including hydrangeas, azaleas, and trees within the rear and side yards. 12 stalls are existing, whereas 9 are required. And as we've stated, we can dedicate 4 stalls for the tenants. We are compliant with all but one of the zoning regulations. The one existing deviation from the ordinance requirement is the minimum side yard, whereas 15 feet is required and 10 feet is existing. This is an existing variance which has shown no negative impacts to the adjacent property. The property is within the general business zone. The zone permits a number of uses, including retail, services, professional office, theaters, motels, and restaurants. Residential units are not permitted. The proposed mixed use is well suited for these 2 compatible uses. The office use is a low-intense use, while the residential units are a good use since it will provide much-needed housing. Just to add, for the office use, I was told by the applicant that the employees are only in 2 days a week. The rest of the days they work at home. So it's an even less intense use. The surrounding area consists of both residential and commercial uses. To the rear of the property, located on Matson Road, are single-family dwellings located within a residential neighborhood. To the east is 1920 Lincoln Highway, which contains a 3-family dwelling, and 1920-22, which contains a vacant office space with residential units above, or 1 unit, I couldn't ascertain. Beyond that is an apartment complex known as Lincoln Gardens. To the west are commercial uses, and to the southwest is a residential development known as Woodhaven, which fronts on Lincoln Highway. To the north are commercial uses and residential uses, one of which has a residential apartment above, Barefoot Massage, located at 1935 Lincoln Highway. This site is appropriate for office use and 2 residential units. Similar uses exist in the surrounding area and directly to the north and east of the property. If you want to just flip through the exhibit, the first page just shows the front of this existing building. The second page is the rear of the property, which shows the house, a couple houses on Matson Road. The second photo is that of our building, and it shows the rear entrance to the property that the tenants would use. The next page shows 1920 and 1922 Lincoln Highway. So the structure on the left is the office with the residential unit above, and on the right, to the right of that is the 3-family dwelling. It has multiple mailboxes, so it might even be more than a 3-family. But the tax assessor could only confirm that it was a 3-family. The second photo shows Lincoln Gardens further up the roadway. The next page shows directly across Lincoln Highway, just a couple of commercial uses. And to the photo to the right shows Barefoot Massage, which is a service, and then there's residential also located within that structure. And this is just a view of Lincoln Highway, AKA Route 27, looking east and west. And then the next photo is that of the side yard setback, whereas 15 feet is required, but we only have 10. And it shows a good distance, and then the landscaping between both uses. And then the last photo just shows all of the different types of zoning, majority of which on Route 27, Lincoln Highway, is general business. But all of the different types of zoning around the property. And then the photo on the right shows a redevelopment area located further down where Plainfield Avenue is. And the master plan does discuss possibly expanding that. So to further discuss that, the relief that is required for a D1 use variance must satisfy the positive and negative criteria. There are several ways to do this. The main point, though, is that the general welfare will be served because the existing site is particularly suited to the proposed use. The two uses are compatible, and there will be 4 stalls dedicated to residential parking. Typically, though, the tenants would be home after the office uses have closed. The existing second-floor vacant office space would be converted to 2 residential apartments, thereby putting to space to a beneficial use. The surrounding area consists of mix of commercial and residential uses, so this proposed use fits in with the character of the neighborhood. The mixed-use building supports the principles of smart growth by providing residential within a walkable community with available goods, services, and public transportation, and is aligned with the State Development and Redevelopment Plan, since this property is located within Planning Area 1. With regards to the township's master plan, the township recently undertook a comprehensive master plan, which was adopted in 2024, in which the town's 3 housing goals and policies are stated, 2 of which apply to this application. Provide a diverse range of housing options across income, household size, and age groups. By working together to promote accessible, affordable, and diverse housing options, the township can help to ensure that the community is a welcoming and inclusive place to live for all residents. Goal 2, to encourage smart growth principles, locating housing close to shopping, employment, and transit, and at reasonable densities to conserve energy and open space, and maintain a balanced density throughout the township. Edison can help create dynamic communities by encouraging mixed land uses where residential and commercial and recreational uses are in close proximity and can benefit from each other. This is also a smart growth principle. In addition to these stated goals, the master plan raises other issues. This property contains an existing, partially vacant 2-story office building, and this proposal is an adaptive reuse of the property, one that provides a benefit, especially considering the housing shortage. The master plan states, quote, "Both homeowner and rental vacancy rates have remained well below adequate levels over the past several decades. The very low vacancy rate suggests substantial unmet demand for housing." It also states single-family dwellings represent the highest share of land use, whereas apartments make up just 4%, whereas single-family dwellings, 62.3%. It also states there is an ongoing need for affordable housing options in the township, as is the case for most of New Jersey and nationwide. For Edison in particular, there is a lack of high-quality, modern housing at price points for young people entering the market. Finding affordable rental units is also an issue, not just home ownership. The master plan discusses office vacancies in the town center zone on Lincoln Highway next to the municipal complex, and that the redevelopment area should be expanded on Lincoln Highway, not just Plainfield Avenue area. I think it mentioned up to Division Street. A mixed use will keep the property functional and fully utilized while creating more pedestrianism and potential transit users. It also recommends mixed use in commercial zones. Quote, "Other recommendations regarding commercial uses may be implemented through redevelopment design or through specialized mixed use or transit-oriented zoning." All of this shows that the residential opportunities are lacking and that office space may be in lower demand in this area, and that Lincoln Highway is in flux and could be transitioning to a more mixed-use type development in order to combat the vacancies and underutilization of certain properties and to deal with the unattractive appearance of buildings and lack of landscaping. This is an attractive building on the property and has landscaping and street trees, so it is contributing to a more attractive appearance on Lincoln Highway. With regard to the special reasons, the project meets several goals of the MLUL, including Goal A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public health, safety, and morals and general welfare. The units will provide housing which will help meet the needs of Edison residents. Goal 2, to provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of agriculture, residential, recreational, commercial, and industrial uses in open space, both public and private, according to their respective environmental requirements in order to meet the needs of all New Jersey residents. This project will encourage well-designed, anti-sprawl land development that is consistent with land use patterns and consistent with the recommendations in the State Development and Redevelopment Plan for metropolitan planning areas. While Lincoln Highway is considered a commercial corridor, and much of it is located within the GB zoning district, it can also be appropriate for residential uses such as apartments. This is shown by the existing residential uses on the roadway. A diversity of housing needs need to be provided, and apartments are necessary to fulfill a housing need, but in Edison are only 4% of the land use. Apartments are not typically provided in single-family residential neighborhoods, but can and are provided on roads such as this, which provide a transitional use adjacent to a single-family residential neighborhood. There will be no negative impacts from this use, and the benefits outweigh any detriments. There is also walkability and access to amenities, services, and public transportation. With regard to the existing bulk variance we are seeking, approval from the deviation from the minimum side yard and 15 feet, whereas 10 is existing, and this is the eastern side of the property, and the adjacent lot contains a 3-family dwelling. There is sufficient attractive landscaping to mitigate this variance, and the proposed use would be in closer alignment with the 3-family use rather than an office use. It is my professional opinion that the municipal land use law would be advanced by the proposed deviation from the zoning ordinance requirements, and the benefits substantially outweigh any detriment. The proposed use promotes the purposes of the MLUL, occurs on a site that is particularly suited for the use, accrues no significant detriment to the public good, and does not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zone plan and the zoning ordinance. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. McGurk. Certainly she's available for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to kick things off. So on page 2 of A2, the photos, the photo on the left side showing a fence, is that your fence?
I believe that's the adjacent, because the good side is facing our property, so it should be the residential development. It does need some work.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure it's a neighbor's fence. It doesn't look in great condition.
It doesn't.
I acknowledge
No.
that, but I believe that's their fence, so.
Mr. Ayotte,
Yes.
given, I'm not sure if you saw this visual, the condition of this fence. I mean, since this case is coming to us for approval, I think maybe a good opportunity so as to repair this or replace.
Yeah, it needs some,
Can you just bring your microphone down, Jim?
excuse me, it needs some TLC.
To say the
Sure.
least.
Pardon?
To say the least.
Yeah. It's faded, it hasn't been taken care of
And
since it was,
there's quite a divide within it.
it's been installed.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Mayor, I just spoke to my client. We don't believe it's our fence. However, we will seek consent from that property owner to shore up that fence. It looks like there's a section that needs a little attention.
And if so approved, we can make that condition.
That's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you. And I know this wasn't a planning question, but it was just an opportunity, it just opened it up. So, okay. All right, so does the board have any questions for Ms. McGurk?
Mr. Chair, I have a
Mr.
question.
Chhabra.
So what is the current use of the basement?
I actually do not know that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear the
I
question.
think it's storage.
Ms. Chhabra?
What is the current use of the basement?
Oh, the basement, I believe, is just storage for
Yeah.
the logistics company. There's no occupancy down there. There's no business.
Is it finished?
No.
Okay. My next question would be, these plans that were prepared, dated August 26, 2024, are these the latest plans?
Yes.
Okay. How come they don't show the side doors that are shown in your second page on the right-hand picture? These doors are not shown.
Yeah, that may just be an oversight, but let me just take a look.
Look in your architectural plans.
Yeah, if it's an oversight, we'll make sure that the architectural plans are consistent with the site plan.
Okay, but I'm just curious, what are those doors go down to? Is that separated basement access? What are those doors?
Yeah, let me just get the architectural plan. Hold on a second.
There's a set of double doors.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you enter to the
Yes.
whole building, for the office and for the.
Wait, I'm sorry, sir, you're gonna have to, if you're gonna speak, you're gonna have to be sworn.
We can have him sworn in, Mr.
Let's
Chairman.
do it, Mr. Sachs.
Okay, let him raise your hand. He'll swear you in.
By the microphone, please. Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You have to pull the mic, you can sit down. Pull the microphone closer and state your full name for the record, please.
My name is Khwaja Ali.
Mr. Ali is a principal of Goulburg Builders, who will be the developer. I think the question, Mr. Ali, was those two doors, where do they lead to? The two double doors.
This is the front of the office when people come.
You can just
to
bring the microphone closer to you.
I'm sorry. Those are the two doors which lead for the office. So that will be the access to the office from outside.
And what about the doors on
The
the right?
door on the right side is the one which will lead to the apartments. Because that was for the first floor, you can say that the one in the front is for the office, and the one on the side is for the apartments.
So
Of the previous office buildings, eh?
So I see two in the front. I see two in the existing first floor plan. I see two. There's a little overhang there. And then I see one in the rear, which would be for the apartments above. But then in your picture that you guys provided, exhibit, there is double swing doors. It looks like it's going to the basement.
Ms. Chubb, just for clarification, looks like the one, it's on page 2, the photo to the right?
Correct.
Are you talking about the architectural plans?
We're talking about the planner's exhibit.
That goes to the office. That's the
As you can tell, the rear door is shown in your architectural plan. If it's on the same elevation, why aren't those double hang doors shown?
Yeah. The one which is showing on the architectural plan, if that's the one you're asking, that goes to the apartments.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But the one to the right that's shown underneath that overhang,
That's an emergency exit, I've been told. Am I correct? It's an emergency exit. Property owner is confirming that.
where is that connecting to? Is it connecting to your basement?
Come on.
Right, sir, you're going to have to be sworn.
Okay.
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And please state your full name for the record.
Sir, if you could just,
and
you could have a seat
microphone.
just so you're in the microphone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ho-Wei Fan.
Mr. Fan is the principal of Big Fish. He's Big Fish. All right, so he's the property owner. So, you're probably the most qualified person to answer these questions. So go ahead, Mr. Fan.
Okay.
All right.
There's that door in question is the exit, emergency exit door. And you can go from there, you can either go up to the office or go down to the basement.
Okay, so it is access to the basement.
Yes.
And are the same set of doors on the other side as well of the
No.
building?
No.
Okay. And what is the use for the basement you mentioned?
No usage, is unfinished, just some people, for now, we let the first floor tenant use to store some whatever the stuff they come up. They need some temporary storage, we let them use it.
Okay, and would it be conditional statement saying that the basement will not be finished, will not be used, and is inhabitable for any future tenants?
That's correct.
Yeah, we have no problem with that condition.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Fan.
Okay. All right, so you can bring Ms. McGurk back. Okay, all right. So does the board have any planning questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Vice Chairman.
So in reference to, on the second page, in reference to this wooden fence, if this got approved, would you agree to replace it?
Well, no, I've been told even, let me give some more qualification. That property that's on the other side of that fence is not even our property. That is clearly not our fence. It's owned by the property owner at that residential property. Our property line ends several feet from that fence.
Are you good with it?
Yeah, he can't.
Okay, thank you.
We'd be trespassing if we
Yeah, thank
tried,
you.
yeah, so.
Okay.
We thought it might be on the property line, but it's not. It's
Okay.
actually, yeah. It's
All
right
right,
at the
thank
back.
you very much, Mr. Sachs. Any other planning questions for Mr. McGurk?
Just one thing,
Sure, yeah.
Vice Chair, that fence will be addressed. I will address it with them. Okay. Thank you
Got
for
someone in
property
trouble.
maintenance.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Sachs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you go to the public, just a quick summation. As Ms. McGurk has testified, we are surrounded by a number of residential uses, and this is clearly meets the definition of an adaptive reuse of property. We're not looking to expand the footprint. We're not going to be developing any further land. We're just going to be really converting this second floor into a use which is really in demand throughout New Jersey and certainly in Edison. I think we've satisfied the special reasons for the granting of the use variance. I think we've satisfied the positive criteria. We've enumerated several goals of planning. And clearly, I think from the testimony of both Ms. Totten and from Ms. McGurk, there isn't going to be any negative detriment to any of the surrounding area. Certainly no detriment to your zone plan and zoning ordinance, and I believe it's consistent with the master plan. So I'd urge this board to approve this application. It's very similar, in fact, to an application which is board approved from the same developer back on Woodbridge Avenue a number of months ago. So I think they're looking at these properties to try to provide some residential, modest-sized apartments for people in Edison. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we will now go out to the public. So first, we will begin with anyone within 200 feet of the subject site. If you're within 200 feet of the subject site, you received a notice via certified mail. Anyone? Okay, so now go outside of 200 feet of the subject site. Anyone outside of 200 feet wanting to be heard? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, second by Mr. Chabra. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Public portion is now closed, and we'll go to the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dave.
I make a motion to approve this application. The applicant has met all the negative and positive criteria. The site is particularly suited for the use intended. The use is not detriment to the public good or public safety, and there are no objectors. This motion will include all of the testimony of the applicant, attorney, beginner planning, and DNR engineering report, and member of the board.
I will add, there were condition that there will be, the basement will not be habitable,
It's unfinished. It's going to stay unfinished, yes.
staying unfinished. Okay, and the applicant will, if it still applies, the applicant will seek consent to shore up the fence?
If we can, but I think that's about the best we can do. And
Okay.
I'm not even sure the property owner will agree, but I'm sure Mr. Ayat will probably exercise his authority. So
And the board will grant the waivers of pipeline buffering? Okay, all right, so motion made by Mr. Dave, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, roll call, please.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba?
Yes on the motion, unanimous approval, congratulations.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you.
Secretary, is there any further business come for the board this evening?
That'll be all this evening.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Chairman O'Gorman, second by Mr. Schneider, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, the ayes have it. Board stands adjourned, good evening, everyone.